Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Well, who would have thought that good old newspaper, or should I say good new newspaper, could procure such wonderful results? In this video, I'm sharing 5, actually more, ideas on how you can use newspaper in your crafts. Let's get to it. Idea number 1 is a newspaper pocketbook with 23 pockets or 27 pockets, depends on how you count. And first I'm going to show you this booklet, and I want to warn you that it's going to look very complicated, but you shall soon find out that it is not. So we have 2 pockets here. These are separate pockets, it's not one pocket. Then when we go in, we have tuck spots and pockets. This is why I said depends on how you count. So we have these tuck spots here, we have a pocket here, just put a paper clip in there. So over here, again, the same thing as at the front. You will see a completely different pocket than this one here, even though it looks like it's the same pocket. And it's incredible how much stuff you can actually fit into these. All right, and then here, now it's repeating. So you can see tuck spots. I just have bits and pieces of different things just to make everything fun. And then over here, this here is a pocket, which I haven't put anything in it because it's a little bit difficult to, I suppose when you do this, you can easily access whatever's in there, but that too is a pocket which I haven't used. And then of course, we've got pocket here. We have this kind of thing happening. This is very simple to make, but it looks quite complicated. And then again, pocket over here. And then again, this one here, which I didn't fill, haven't got anything in there. And then same thing here, have a bit of this and a bit of that. And then over here in this pocket, a little vellum envelope with little bits and pieces. I'm showing you what I've got in the pockets just to give you a little bit of inspiration, because this is a nice little gift. It's a nice sort of thing you will send in Happy Mail or as part of swaps and stuff like that, or presents for little girls with full of stickers and fun stuff that she can use. I have another booklet in there. This is always fun. And then here at the back, finally, another pocket. Here on the binding, I have some handmade paper beads. I do have a tutorial on this if you want to have a look. I'm going to link it down below. But for now, let me show you how to make this book. Since we are kind of working backwards, I showed you the book first. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's not in book form, when it's not bound and the pockets are not filled up. So this is, I'm going to demonstrate. All we're doing is a simple fold. This is an origami type of a fold where initially this is supposed to be like a wallet for your cards and for money and I don't know what not, more money perhaps. So you can see all of those different pockets. All right, so that's done. This is cardstock. I'm not a big fan of working with cardstock, especially when there's so many folds, and then you can see kind of bunching up of paper happening, which happens with the newspaper, but it definitely has more give. And of course, this is just a normal standard paper. So all I did is created these, and I made 3 of them and put them together and bound them into a book. So let's say I could use different things. I could use, different types of paper. This is all I did, and I made a book. First, I'm going to show you the fold, just on standard A4 size paper, and then we're going to do it with the newspaper. So you fold it in half, easy. Then you open it up, and you can see this fold. Now you fold this side, the bottom, up to the middle, up to the fold that you've just made. And everything you do on one side, you must repeat on the other side. So now we're going to do this one here. Fold right up to the middle. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to do a little fold here. I don't want to confuse you at this point, but I was thinking to myself, why do we have to make this little fold here? Which is, by the way, you don't have to measure anything, and they don't have to be exactly the same on both sides. But it's about a pinky finger kind of a width. All right, and might as well do it on the other side now. And what these folds do is, with your finished product, this is the section that we folded here. So basically these pockets have a little bit more sturdiness. It's doubled up because you'll be putting stuff in. You can see that there. That's why you do the fold. The fold is not compulsory, this one, but for sturdiness, you want to have it in there. All right, at this point, we've made this fold, both top and bottom, and now we're going to fold little triangles here. Just to that fold. Perfect. And the other side. Turn it around and repeat. Okay, easy. This is what we have so far. Now you're going to turn this in and this side in, and this is what you have at this stage. Make your folds nice and crisp. Excellent. Now at this stage, grab a ruler or something, and you can see these 2 points. Line up your ruler. You don't have to go all the way to the points. If they line up perfectly, which mine do not, if you can see this, bring your ruler to where they line up perfectly. If they don't, just go a little bit lower, just like so, and make a fold. You can go in with your hand, make a fold, or I like to use some sort of a tool to make that fold, just like so. And now to the other side, repeat. That's what we have so far. Okay, perfect. Now flip it around. Okay, and now you see that fold we've just made. We'll want to invert it to the other side. I might use the help of my ruler. All right, and now, and that's it. That's all the folding done. I didn't really, should have used my ruler. It doesn't matter. And now all you have to do at this point, we can go either side. Just tuck your little things in either side, and there we have it. Or we can do it, depends on which one kind of looks nice. It really doesn't matter. And there we have it. That's the little wallet made out of paper. Done. All right, now I'm going to do it with newspaper. Now that you know how to do the fold, I'm gonna bring in some extra steps, and you will see all of the washi tape, all the different types of washi tape. If you want to do something like this, add a little bit of fun. I think that's what makes it kind of special, because it is a very crude kind of, nothing special, especially if you're working with newspaper. I wanted to make it a little bit more fun, I suppose. So I added washi tape, not on all of them, but I'm going to now do this folding business with the newspaper, and I will add the washi tape prior to the folding, so that if you want to add the washi tape, you can do so. Okay, first off, as you know, with a lot of newspapers, the stories that you see in them are mostly doom and gloom, and also there are a lot of photos and ads like this, and stuff that perhaps, I don't know, that you may not want to have in your book, I suppose. So first thing I do is kind of go through the newspaper and try to find a page or a spread, like a whole spread with a lot of writing and minimal images. There's a lot of images here. You can't escape it. I like to double up the newspaper because I want these booklets to be somewhat durable. Like, I don't want them ripping as soon as you go to put something in. And you can see that the newspaper that I use, it's doubled up basically. one page is shorter than the other, so I like to get rid of this bit that's longer. As I mentioned before, I made 3 of these, what I'm about to do, for my book. And all 3 ended up being different sizes. And also another thing, the newspaper dimensions are different to what I've just done on screen now with the white paper, the standard copy size paper dimensions. So your finished product will end up looking slightly different to this. Like this might go all the way up or be done here. So it's a newspaper project. It really doesn't have to be any type of perfect. I like to add just a little bit of glue here on the side, just to kind of keep it in place while I'm working, because the newspaper, it is very, very thin. So it will bunch up and do all sorts of crazy stuff while I'm working with it. All right, so I want most of my writing to be visible in my finished project. So I'm going to turn it the other way and start folding in. Let's make that first fold right there in the middle. And now we're making the second fold. We're going to come up to that middle fold we've just done. Perfect. Turn it around and repeat. Now we're going to do that top fold just like so and repeat on the other side. Now we're going to go in the corners. All 4 corners, we're making little triangles here. Now we're going to turn this in. Now we have to fold, remember where the points meet. The beauty with this project is that you can mess up. It will not matter because it's newspaper. You just crunch it up, chuck it up and grab a new sheet. All right, here we are. So we've turned it around and now it's hard to see in the video, but the fold that we've just made, we have to invert it to the other side. Lovely, press it down. And one side will be the glued side and the other side will be the one that has the nice fold. So I like to do this. All right, and there's my little thing. I'm finding that most of the writing which I wanted is either here on the inside, which is a shame. So I probably should have started off the other way around. But then again, on the pockets here, mostly writing, which if I had started on the other side, I would have like print on the pocket, you know, pictures and colors and things like that. Which is why during the embellishing stage, of course, where there's writing, I kind of left it. And then where there's bright pictures and titles that may have negative, you know, things in them, I covered it up with, just made it pretty basically. All right, back to this. I was going to do the washi tape, but I didn't, which is fine because everything's folded already. I think I might, with the washi tape, I'm going to talk you through it because I still have 4 other projects to show you and this will take way too long. This project will be the one that takes the most of time of this video. But anyway, so with the washi tape, when your book is complete and folded, the only side that is not visible, so at this stage where you go to pop your things in, the only side that is not visible is the one that's underneath. So remember at the start I glued one side down and the other one is the fold. So generally if the glued side, I don't know, I just decide which looks better. And usually I go with the one with the fold rather than the glued section. I usually go with that on top. That section of the newspaper is the only section that's not visible. So when you open everything back up, the only border, let's say, of the newspaper that's not visible is, for me in this case, it will be this one here, which I'm deciding to hide. Okay, in that case, you apply washi tape when it's folded like this on all of the sides, apart from this one here, because it will be a waste of washi tape, it's not visible. So just to show you kind of the end result, I have 2 different washi tapes. I use this washi tape on all of the pockets and I use this washi tape on the folded part. So I don't want this to be more confusing than it really isn't. Trying to explain it is probably a little bit confusing now, but basically I applied 1 washi tape here and then I just wanted to have a little bit of fun and I applied a different washi tape to the sides. And by the way, you don't need to cover the points here either in washi tape because that's all hidden. Another thing that you can do is open up your newspaper and just apply the washi tape straight across. However, that adds bulk to the parts that have to be folded down. That's what I found anyway. It still worked, but it was a little bit more difficult. So I just want to show you, see how these parts, once everything is where it has to be, those little triangle parts, they're all the way in. They're not visible, so you don't need to be covering that section there. And now I'm going to show you how I made the booklet. So I had 3 of those. And how did this one end up being smaller? I don't know what I did here, but it seems as if, I'm not going to bore you with details, but basically with this one here, I didn't make the fold, the little fold up the top. And then I ended up having these really long kind of pockets. You can see how the pockets meet, whereas over here they don't meet because it was folded, so the paper was made shorter. Here I didn't fold anything. And then what happened when I was supposed to put them together and slide everything in place, I couldn't, because and this is actually pretty good to mention because it might happen to you, my paper was extending past the fold, so I couldn't fold it down. So I had to go in and cut with scissors to make it shorter. Anyway, I hope it all makes sense. If it doesn't, just leave me a comment, ask me a question. But basically, like I said before, I have made 3 of those, and then of course the one that's kind of different looking, I put that in the middle, and I bound it using a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, 1 hole in the middle, 1 down the bottom, and 1 up the top. Now, if you want to have this kind of effect where your strings are on the outside rather than on the inside, so we have a nice little thing here, then you will start your binding from the outside in. So now we're on the outside, we're going in through the middle hole, through all 3 layers. Everything is bulky and moving around, and it doesn't matter. You just find where the holes are. So now you're going through the top hole, and then you're on the outside, you go back in through the last hole, and now you go back outside through the middle hole, tighten everything, tie a knot, another knot, and now you have your strings to add the beads, and your book is bound. And now you can go ahead, look at all of this space that you can go, and this is what I meant before, there's just so much space that you can play around with and put stuff in and tuck things into. Oh, this one's upside down. It doesn't have to be. You can have your pockets upside down, especially if it happens by accident. You can say that it happened because you wanted it to. And then you have all of this, and you have all of this, and there we have it. That's how you make it. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I hope it didn't kind of deter you from trying this project, because I'm stumbling over myself today, so out of practice, because I haven't filmed in a week. But anyway, that is the pocket book. I thoroughly enjoyed making this project, especially the filling up parts of, you know, the pockets, and making the little booklets and having the little fabrics sticking out, because the nature of the project, the construction, the fact that it's newspaper, it made me feel kind of like, you know, I can just go in and just do anything, add even like staples and, you know, stapled things. It's not something that I usually do, but it just gave me some kind of a freedom, I suppose, to just go with the flow. So this is most definitely the project that is going to take the most amount of time in this video. So I think we should move on to idea number 2 and try and hurry it up a bit, shall we? Idea number 2 is envelopes, and not just any kind of envelopes. These are very special envelopes because they are wonky envelopes, and they literally take, look at this, I mean, how fun is this? They take very little time to make. You might be noticing that these are some kind of different kind of looks here. I just want to tell you right off the bat here, we are obviously making envelopes, but the beauty of this project is the fact that you don't have to make anything perfect. You don't have to measure anything. In fact, I have a full video on making envelopes, I think 3 different ways or 5 different ways, I'm not sure, without measuring or using any tools, just freehand folding. And it's nothing like what we've just done before, where you follow a certain rule of folding. This is just folding newspaper. So instead of talking, I'm going to demonstrate. So first of all, again, I like to choose newspaper where there's mostly writings. I like to use 1 sheet. Here we go. You're going to love this process. First, I'm going to do this type here, where you just fold any which way. Look at this. How cool So for an envelope, basically an envelope has the pouch down the bottom, the sealed sides, and the flap up the top. So now we're going to make it. I'm going to do, but we're doing wonky envelope. So you just have to make some folds anyway. Don't overthink it. Here I'm going to do the sides here because I'm not going to be, oh, I might be sewing. I think I like the look of the sewing, and I'm not even thinking about anything, just folding. Now I need a flap. So if I do this, that's not going to work, is it? No. So I keep folding. So I'm going to go, maybe I can do this. And you know what? If it doesn't work, chuck it in the bin, get a new one. That's the way I look at it. So I can bring this one down, bring this one in, and then fold it in. Just do whatever. You can fold, you can, as you're going along, you can add glue, you can be all messy, you can use your glue stick, the paper can get warped. We're not going to care about it, and we're just going to have fun. And now we need the flap. How will this look? Well, I think I can make it better, so maybe we can do something like this. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to fold that down. I might, you know, if I want to use glue, I'm going to use glue. Since we're doing this type of a thing, as you can see, like the stitching and this little detail makes the project, because this is what it looks like without the stitching and the little detail. So at this point, what I would do, I want to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to do some stitching, but maybe I can do some more folding. I'm going to actually sew this on screen so you can actually see what I'm doing. Of course, instead of the stitching, you can just use glue. But if you are going to use your sewing machine, you want to ensure that you're not sewing through the pocket, of course, because then it's just a useless piece of thing that you can't put anything in, whereas this is an actual, like, an envelope type of thing. All right, so here comes the sewing machine. And I know it's kind of hard to see it because it's quite close, but I'm just going to start sewing anything, really. I suppose I kind of did all of my folds and then I opened it up and now I'm folding back down, you know, as I'm kind of deciding where I'm going to sew. And not that it's any type of a science or anything like that. So I've kind of folded this back down and now I'm thinking I want to have a little stitch there. I was going to say, I bet I'm going to run out of thread. And of course, every time that I need to rethread, Banjo comes. Hi, beautiful puppy. Hello. What you do? You don't like the noise. You don't like the noise. Hmm? You don't like it? It's okay. Beautiful. And those of you grossed out by the licking, I did wash my hands. And in fact, when working with newspaper as well, I find myself washing my hands all the time because you do end up having like black stuff on your hands, and I just hate the feel of newspaper, which kind of sucks, but anyway, it is what it is. All right, let's continue. I'm going to show you this in a minute, but while I'm still at my sewing machine, I'm going to do the little detail on the flap. So I'm using a book page here, just a little strip with ripped edges. All the edges are ripped, and I'm going to messily pleat it in somewhat of a semicircle, just like that. And now I'm going to messily ink the edges, just like so. And find a spot somewhere on the flap where I want it. And I'm going to sew that on in a semicircle. All right, let's see. First, I'll get rid of all the thread. I'm thinking another little pleat might look quite nice. And here we go, done. So this most definitely is not one of my favorite ones, but look at that. We have some tuck spots, we have a pocket here, or an envelope. You can put all sorts of fun stuff in there. And each envelope will look completely different. Really depends on how you do your folds and whatnot. Like, I just love this. And also, since the day seems to be a day for slightly overcomplicating things. I also wanted to show you how I made these envelopes. I don't know, I'm second guessing now if I want to do, but no sewing on this one, no stitching, and just some basic folds, like no crazy business like we've just done on these. We're making this a little bit more acceptable, and I'm going to really quickly do one. Okay, what I'll do is I'll make this newspaper not so long. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter and perhaps just have this writing, which, I mean, of course, I need to have less folds the smaller the paper. All right, and now I'm going to turn this way, and this can be the bottom of my envelope. And now I need the side flap. I can do something like this, align it down here, and perhaps I can do folding it in. So we're just making 4 folds basically, but in a non-uniform kind of way. And now for my flap, perhaps I'll use a ruler, something like this. All right, perfect. There's my envelope. And now if you want to know, I mean, of course it is newspaper, we are using newspaper, but I did want to beautify them a little bit. And I really enjoyed, especially this one. When I made this one, I just loved it so much. I don't know, I think they're all quite nice. So at this stage, instead of kind of gluing everything down, I went into my scraps folder, and I might choose a piece that's available. All right, perfect. I'm going to use this piece because I'm not going to use it in anything else. It's football themed, so that's why I pulled that one out. I'm going to glue just the bottom down for now. Now the idea is not to go and cover the whole thing, because then what's the point of using newspaper? We're just adding a little bit of something to make it a bit more special. All right, chop that off. So you can see that I already have a little background in there. And at this stage, it really depends on how far you want to go with this. You can just glue it down and call it done. Or I might use the scraps that I have on my table from all the projects that I promise we're getting to. This is taking way longer than I anticipated. The issue with this is the newspaper. The project itself, when I show you a folded newspaper, it's quite ugly. And it may not be enticing enough for you to go and actually spend some time making it. And that's why I feel like I need to do all these extra steps to show you that you don't need much work to make it kind of special. So, all right, let's speed this all up. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. And now last thing I need to do is glue the flaps down. So I'm kind of checking. I'm going to go from here. There's one. There's the other one. That's the envelope, and we made it fun by adding all the little bits and pieces just to, you know, just to make it a little bit more fun. But there it is. I'm pretty sure I overcomplicated this whole process of making envelopes because it's so simple. You just fold the newspaper in and then glue stuff down and add little bits and pieces, embellishments, and I hope seeing the process makes it a little bit more enticing for you to make. And see how, like, things like this, when you put this is exactly the same of what I've just done now with this piece here, but it looks like it's 2 pieces because it's 1 piece inside and then we've got all these flaps. Anyway, I think this is pretty self-explanatory now, so I say let's move on to project or idea number 3, which is baggies, bags, or pouches, or whatever you may call them. And we shall breeze through this project because this isn't so much about how to make them, but rather what you can use them for. So they're all different and they all have a little journal inside. All right, or other things. Anyway, I'll show you everything, but first I'm going to show you how to make the pouch. I love using newspaper because it's a large size and we can do all sorts of stuff. We can do pockets at the front, large pocket at the back. Same here, you know, little things. I don't know. We can make it really fun. So let me show you how to make them. So first of all, exactly the same as what we've did previously, I look for a page that has lots of writing. So I cut it down simply because I only want the writing rather than this bottom section here. So it really depends on what kind of newspaper you have. All right, next thing I'm going to do is apply a little bit of washi tape. As you can see, all of mine have a little bit of washi tape up the top. Some of them have them, you know, in the middle, down the bottom, a bit of this and a bit of that. So let's start with the washi tape up the top. All of the washi tapes I use are from the Washi Tape shop. I do have a code. I'm going to leave it down below if you want to, I don't know, go and look for some washi tapes. These washi tapes that I have a backing on them. A lot of washi tapes don't. It, you know, we're just covering the top bit. So I try to apply it in a straight line if I can. Doesn't always work. And I also like to kind of bring it over the top. So that's giving the newspaper some strength. If you don't have a wide washi tape, you can simply use a piece of washi tape on both sides. Perfect. Okay, trim off the excess. And now we're going to make a pouch, or the bag, or the baggie. It's kind of like the glassine kind of thing. So here you just want to overlap the two sides and glue them together. And I kind of like that seam to be somewhere in the middle. So this looks pretty good. Fold that down, overlap, and fold this down. And now, of course, I'm going to apply a little bit of glue and glue it shut. That's what we have so far. And now, of course, depends how tall do you want your thing. So I don't know, let's make a tall one. So I'm gonna fold this here, really simple, and then make a little nice slanted back, just like so. I might do a little bit of inking and glue it down. So I'm gonna glue these little bits down first, and then apply glue all over and glue that down. And here we go. Okay, pouch. How easy and simple. Pouch done. And now for the embellishing part. This is the part that takes the most time, and we shall not dwell here. I'm going to show you how I made this kind of thing. I'll do that next, but I just wanted to give you some ideas. I have some stamping done. I have a little bit of fun things that I added here. This is just one little stamp. I am absolutely in love with this stamp, and I have no idea where I got it from. Then over here, sticker, doily, and you know, you get the idea. You can add extra little pieces to make it more fun. So I will embellish this one. I'm going to speed everything up. Perhaps for this one, I can use some packaging that I have. I think that's going to look quite nice. I gave it a little bit of a wiggly edge and glue it down. Next, I'm going to glue a little bit of this trim just there down the bottom. Next, I'm going to add a little mini envelope. Perhaps I will do an envelope stack kind of thing, something like this. Make this one a little bit more fun. When gluing envelopes down on projects, don't go all the way to the edge of the envelope because it'll be difficult to put things in. So I just applied glue in the middle there. And then this one. Okay. This needs to be held down with something. Maybe I can find something here. Just add a little closure. Maybe add another little thing in the middle there just to make it a bit more appealing. And now just for the top, I want to use a little bit of something again. It can be lace, it can be whatever. It doesn't have to be anything. Done. I think it looks beautiful and it can go a million different ways. And now I'm just quickly going to show you what I put inside them. Well, I've already showed you, but I have little booklets. I made a cover just using 6x6 paper for the smaller ones, and then just standard like non-tea-dyed nothing paper, and I used my, I forgot what it's called now, the serrated edge ruler to rip the pages off. So it extends the journal, and it gives me this beautiful edging. So it's a beautiful little interesting thing, you know, that you can add, and it really doesn't take long at all. This is a stamp like I said before. And then on this one here, same kind of thing. you know, just following the same rules, I suppose, so I don't have to think too long. What am I going to add in? These are large stickers, and you see it just goes really beautiful. Nice little quick gift or an addition to a journal or happy mail or whatnot. All right, now I did want to make you these smaller ones, very simple to make. And again, I did exactly the same thing with the little journal inside, but the difference with this one is, of course, that it has this extra pocket here. And this this can also be a tuck spot. I just glued it straight down. I'm going to do this next. So we're doing the exact same thing that we've done over here. I'm going to speed through that. All right, so we've done the first part, but I didn't glue anything down. So now we're just going to create the pocket before I start gluing things down. Maybe I can go all the way up like this. I'm just going to make those folds. And then I'm going to bring it back down. And you know, there's your pocket kind of thing. But if you want to do this kind of an envelope element, I was going to say, this kind of a thing, if you want to leave it as a tuck spot, I'm going to show you how I do that. So we fold it down somewhere around there. And then I'm going to fold it back up. All right, perfect. Now I can go in and add my glue over here, close it. All right, that's closed. Come back to the front. There's my fold number 1, fold number 2, fold number 3. And now I'm simply going to add washi tape just there, making sure that the whole section is covered in washi tape. I really didn't leave myself enough washi tape there, but it's fine. All right, so we have our folds and we have this fold here. Inking the edges to accentuate the fact that that is a pocket. And now, of course, we're going to make that into a pocket. So we need a bit of glue here, a bit of glue here. Close that. And now what I've done with my 2 that I've already made, I glued this whole thing down. But if you want that to be a little tuck spot for like maybe postage stamps or like little pieces of ephemera, of course, you just, again, create a little pocket, just a bit of glue on the sides and on your hands and everywhere else, and then you glue it down. And then of course you can glue this piece down, and again you can leave that as a little tuck spot as well, so you can tuck things in here, you can tuck things in here, and then you have this large pocket, well, largish pocket here, and then of course the main pocket up the top. I'm just going to glue this whole section down just so we can move along. And of course at this stage you can go through your stash and decide what you want to use. Perhaps you want to hide some words, you know, you can glue down a doily, or you can add a bit more washi tape, you can add a bit of book page, you can add a bit more newspaper, or maybe I'm gonna add some of these little stickers that I have just to hide those words. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's not necessary, but then again, none of this is necessary really. So, oh, that went upside down. Now I'm gonna go in with my favorite stamp. Don't ask me where I got it. It was probably off Marketplace. This too, this, I don't know what this is. I got it like that, secondhand, so I might give it a clean, who knows. I might not. Oh, I went over the pocket. I was not planning that. Well, now I must commit, and perhaps I will call this one done. I think we're ready to move on to the next idea. Idea number 4 is an expanding pouch. So this is really fun. I simply put it on a piece of like board, but you can add this on the inside of your journal, or you can really play around with this idea. And it's really, really easy to make. And of course, as you can see, plenty of space to fill it up further and for it to grow, you know. And okay, very easy to make. So let me show you how. The first part is done exactly the same way as the previous idea. So of course you have your newspaper, and we will be doing, like I said, what we've done before, but here you want to decide how deep do you want the pouches, because your paper will be folded in half. So if I don't trim any more of my newspaper, this is how deep they will be. But I am going to trim once again the bottom of this off. I'm going to apply washi tape up the top, just like we did before, but at this stage I'm also going to apply washi tape down the bottom. And in fact, I might use different washi tapes. So one of these is going to give you 2 pockets. All right, so this is the top part, I have the red washi tape, and the bottom part I have this washi tape. And then the next one I have different. So I wanted like different tops. Okay, that's why I'm choosing two different washi tapes. All right, the top is done. Now I'm going to do the bottom. Okay, easy peasy, top and bottom done. I kind of messed it up here. I hope it's not gonna create too many problems. Okay, now we're doing the same thing that we've done before. This is where you kind of determine how wide you want it to be. Like you want it to be maybe really narrow, you know. So you just want to overlap them somewhere in the middle or on the side. It might even actually be better if you do it on the side, but anyway. And now we're going to glue where they are overlapping. And now we're simply going to fold it in half. Perfect. Check your edges. Obviously I didn't do a very good job there because of that little mess up there that I did, but it's okay. I'm just going to trim a little bit off. It's no big deal. All right, and there we have it. Now depends how many do you want. On this one here that I've shown you, I only have, it doesn't have to be a lot, you see, only 3 of them. You can have 4, 5, 6, 7, you can have 2, you can just do 1. It really depends on how many sections you want to have. So this one has 3 sections and hence 6 pockets. All right, the main thing is that they are somewhat the same size, and I wanted mine to be exactly the same size. So now I'm going to do another one exactly the same size before I start gluing anything down, because I will need this as a reference point. All right, so in comes the next newspaper. And of course, because I want them to be the same size, I'm going to use this one that I've already made, and I'm going to just check how tall I need my newspaper to be. So I'm going to cut it there. Perfect. Next, we're going to do the washi tape top and bottom. Next, we're going to do the folds, but remember we want them to be exactly the same size as the one we've done before. So I'm just going to kind of gently fold in and just checking against this one here. And now glue and fold in half. You can choose at this stage which one do you want your front. Anyway, they should be the same size. Ink some edges while we're at it. And now we simply have to join them together. So first we'll do this one here. So I'm using double-sided tape, but what I like to do before applying double-sided tape straight to the newspaper, I'm afraid it might rip through. I choose, again, you can use masking tape, or this is washi, like nothing special kind of washi that I don't mind. That's all going to be hidden anyway. And I just go over that glued seam there just to give it extra strength. And then I go in with double-sided tape only on the 1/2. It doesn't have to go all the way down. All right, remove and close. But you want to be careful here that you're closing properly, because once it's down, it's down. All right, close. That's one pouch done. All right, and now we'll do the same on this one. Perfect, done. And then you keep going with however many you have. I'm gonna stick with 2, and now we simply have to join all of them together. So again, I try to make sure all of the strips are in the middle, so I'm going to apply washi tape on both of them, why not? And then of course double-sided tape or glue. Remove, and now it's really important when you're stacking them that they align. And here's what we have. And then you just keep going with however many you want to make. So making them is easy, and then comes of course the embellishing process. I'll come a bit closer so you can see. Just to give you some ideas, pretty much same what I've done before. I have this pretty trim here covering, I don't like the straight edge of the washi tape, so you can see, you know, the straight edge. But then when you go in with a little bit of something wiggly like this, it just changes the whole thing, right? And then you can really just, what do I have? Add anything on there, an envelope or whatever. We're just making it pretty. So that's what I did on this one here. Just the trim, and then this is actually from a gift bag, this one here, and then layered a few pieces, and that's it. You only embellish the first one, and then you fill up the pockets. So like I said before, I have this on a board. I just covered a little bit of very thick cardstock in the scrapbook paper, and I stuck it down so it's a piece on its own. This can be little thing that you can put on a journal. I just went to have a look in my stash of uncompleted journals. This one I was showing you when I was making these oversized buttons and using the button as a closure. But, you know, I have so many unfinished journals, and this one, the colors seem to go so well. So I just wanted to show you, perhaps the dimensions are not so good. I would like something a little bit smaller, you know, but this would be something really fun to have on the cover of a journal. It's a beautiful little element on the cover of a journal. You can glue a little bit of, let's say, twine. You might be worried about all the things in here falling out as soon as you kind of move your journal around. So that's very easily fixed by gluing a piece of twine underneath, and then you can have that tied here, or you can actually have it tied here, so it's actually holding the pocket closed, or the pockets. So something like this, for example, just an idea that you can play around with. That would be cool little element on a journal, or of course on the inside of a journal. This one's not done yet, as you can see, but instead of having the board, you can just have, where is it, let's pretend this one's nice and embellished, and this can be like on the inside cover. Anyway, I think you get the idea. You can do something like this, package it up, nice little gift, put a little fancy pen in there, package it up real nice, you know, put a little something else in there. I don't know, I'm just picking out things and ideas are coming to me, but that looks really quite beautiful. All right, let's move on. Idea number 5 is newspaper, washi tape, and again, it's not about how you make it, but how you use it. So I have plenty of examples here, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But you have probably all seen the method of packaging tape transfer. So basically you're making your own stickers. You grab a little bit of packaging tape, you put it across an image or some type of writing or something like that. So you glue it down and then you just cut it off. By the way, this is not what we're doing, but this is just how I came with across the idea, but I'm not sure why I'm showing you this now, but in case you've never seen this method before. So you cut out your image or your word, and honestly, I never have time or patience for this, so let's call this idea number 6. You might like it. And then you wet the back, and then you do this business, and you remove the newspaper, and you are left with, like I said, I don't have patience for this. You are left with some of the writing, you can see here. And then that's sticky, and you can stick it onto your project. So that's the idea, right? What I do instead is grab a little bit of sticky tape, put it down on the newspaper, kind of slant it so that the letters are slanted. I don't press it too much down, and then I just remove, just like this. It's still sticky, and it has a little bit of writing and a little bit of newspaper. Sometimes, depending on how hard you press, you might remove more newspaper. All right, so you can see that, and that's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, I have found if you want to go for the aged look, let's say, I decided to perhaps try a little bit of some type of a color, but then what I find is that the sticky tape does not stick. It just, nothing happens. Well, actually, something does happen now when I look at it, but nothing special. And sometimes if you press really hard, you might remove a whole section of newspaper. So all of those different, and then what I do, if you want the aged look, then I go in with this kind of thing, and it kind of colors it a little bit. It's not as white. Maybe I'll pick up some more writing here. And that's pretty much it for the demonstration, but now I'm just going to show you everything that I've done with this technique. So now you have this piece that can be glued on your project, especially if you're going for the vintage look. So you can see here what I've done. It's nice when the letters are kind of upside down or slanted rather than straight across. That's why I kind of put it across the page like this. And then you can do all sorts of little additions. I'm sure you've done this before, but you know, just in case if you haven't, perhaps you have done something like this, but perhaps you haven't done something like this. All right, I'll come back to that. Let's not jump ahead. All right, so there it is, the piece. Perhaps I can add it here to my book like so. Might not look too bad, but I shall leave this book as it is because I quite like it. By the way, what I didn't mention is that this piece that we've just made, it's no longer sticky. So when you're applying it to any project, like I did here on paper and here on acetate, I simply use my glue stick and just go over the whole thing and then glue it down onto my project. Maybe this one is destined to live here. All right, done. Okay, so this is a little journal that I made with one of those page divider things that has been tea dyed. I added, we're going for the grungy, so I have the twine, thick twine, I have staples, I did some hand stitching, just little things. I have this image cut out from a book, a bit of lace underneath the image. I have this, whatever its purpose is, and you know. And now for the acetate, I love how this looks, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. I have an idea, but I glued strips. It was a meditative practice for me, just listening to music and just gluing strips of sticky tape down. And I also made a bookmark. It's nothing amazingly special. You can laminate. I've sewn around it. I think it's just something different, honestly. This can be a page in a journal, and then the other side, this side here where there's nothing on it, can be a place for, it's like a dashboard. It can be a place for sticky notes and stickers that you can peel off again and use in your projects. And it's an idea that you can most definitely expand upon, and there's so many different ways of using this. What shall we call it? What am I calling it? Washi tape, newspaper washi tape. Okay, I do have a few more things that I attempted but didn't quite explore further. These are a few little extra ideas. I did not love this one. So I was attempting to make vellum paper, and so I coated this in paraffin. You can use oil. People use candles, so you rub it with a candle and then you iron it. I did iron this, and then you get this see-through kind of vellum paper, really. I didn't like it because, one, you can see the image that's on the other side. It looks very messy. And I have had experience where this type of thing, if you put it against something else in a journal for a while, over time, it's going to leave a grease or oiliness on the whatever it touches. So I did not go any further than this, but it's quite, I don't know, quite interesting. Maybe something you want to try. Another thing I did with the newspaper, well, this is a newspaper, but this is the technique that I show in my faux rice paper video, which was a very, very popular video. This is napkin, and we're making like faux rice paper, and then there's all these projects that I show you how to use the paper and whatnot. I used that same technique, which is pretty much just PVA glue over the top of a cereal liner or a plastic bag. I'll leave the link to the video. I'm not going to explain it now because I've already done the video, but look how cool. I wish you could see it in real life. I tried the same technique with the newspaper. I was hoping that perhaps the newspaper is going to dry see-through, which of course that didn't happen because why would it? But it does leave, because the PVA glue, which is just standard white school glue, it dries clear, obviously, and it's also almost like a plastic. You can see on the other side of this faux rice paper, it's a napkin, but it's a protective sheet, very thin sheet of plastic. So I just did strips of newspaper, glued it down, and then maybe this can be, it's quite sturdy compared to just newspaper alone. So that is a protective kind of thing. Another thing I did is, what did I do here? I saturated the newspaper with PVA glue again, and then actually I did the same process that I just explained, and then I have cheesecloth over the top and let it dry. This is very sturdy. This can be a journal cover. It can make a little pouch, a little wallet, I don't know. And then finally, of course, you can use newspaper and collage. This is pretty straightforward. You're just ripping up bits of, I don't know why I have these lines. I think I don't know what I was trying to do. It's been a while since I made this. You just rip up your newspapers and you just go to town collaging. Then you can add some images, you can add more newspaper washi tape, you can make it something special. All right, let's recap, shall we? Idea number 1 is the glorious newspaper pocketbook. Idea number 2 are the envelopes. We have these crazy foldage type of envelope. And then we have these somewhat more subdued, I suppose you can say, also envelopes. Then we have idea number 3, which is the bags or the baggies or the pouches, or I don't know what you want to call them, but here they are in all their glory. Then we have idea number 4, which is the expanding pouch, and my special one, of course, I have packaged up, and I quite like how this looks, so I don't want to take it out of here, so I'm just going to leave it in there. And idea number 5, of course, is the newspaper washi tape and all this fun stuff that you can make with it and add to your journals and make pages and pockets and clutches and whatnots. And then, of course, the extra ideas that you might want to play around with, making newspaper vellum, using newspaper in collage, doing the transfer tape thing. I'm not sure what the technique is called. Then over here we have that whole rice paper technique. I don't know, they're just ideas that you can expand on. And finally, that brings me to the conclusion of this rather long video. I was not anticipating that it's going to take this long. I do hope that you got lots of inspiration. I hope you feel excited about using newspaper in your projects. Please do let me know which one of these projects is your favorite. And also, of course, if you have other ideas that I haven't, I mean, there's millions of things that we can do with newspapers. And here I have explored only some that are perhaps more suitable to junk journals and journal making and art journaling. But there's other things that we can do, like making more 3D things, which is really not my thing, so I didn't dive into that world. All right, so once again, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Any questions, any comments, any more ideas, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.